pretty vague, but well, there you are. Okay, now a whole new topic. Now remember, this whole chapter, this chapter 0, it's all preparatory. It's preparing you with concepts and definitions and notation and so on to be ready for the numbered chapters. Starting with 1, 2, 3, 4. How many chapters are there in this text actually? It's 400 plus pages. So how many chapters? Not very many. They're long chapters. 10. No. It's not a small number. So okay. Well, 10 chapters plus chapter 0, so 11. All right. So next topic, Boolean logic. Let me say a little bit about the name. Boolean, that's the adjective of bool. And what is bool? Well, it's a name. It's somebody's name. Boole, as a person, was a British mathematician, logician, I guess. Lived in the 1800s. And Boolean logic, Boolean arithmetic, sort of closely linked. In fact, that's an essential point. So a Boolean variable, think of a variable like x or y. I mean, go back to your middle school when you were starting to solve equations of the form with just algebra, with x's and y's in your equations. So you had two simultaneous equations, like ax plus by equals c, and dx plus ey equals f, and you had to solve for x and y. So that x, for example, that was a variable because its value, the value that x has, could vary, could change, and you didn't know when you start trying to solve these simultaneous equations. These two equations that are both true, and the x in both equations has the same value, and the y in both equations has this same value. So you don't know what x or y the values are. Now, in a Boolean variable, by definition, the variable can only have two values, true or false. So they're sort of logical variables. They're about truth, and you can represent these two values symbolically. For example, as 0 and 1. For example, the 1 corresponds to true, and the 0 corresponds to false, or the other way around, right? It's up to you. You create the convention. Now, Boolean variables tend to get used in situations where there are only two possibilities. For example, in the context, you say you're looking at a wire in like a computer circuit, and you're asking, is there a high voltage or a low voltage on that wire? So you could say, well, the high voltage corresponds to a 1, or true in the Boolean logic sense, and a low voltage could correspond to 0 or false in the Boolean logic sense. Okay. So that's what I've been saying here. So take some physical situation that where there are two possibilities, and you can then use Boolean variables to describe that situation. Okay, now that's a bit vague, I suppose, but with practice, you'll get the hang of using Boolean variables. And if your number system is Boolean, using bool, meaning there are only two values, there are only two numbers in your counting system, 0 and 1. like in the decimal system, we have 10 different numbers in our counting system. So it's the decimal system. But in the Boolean counting system, we only have 2, 0 and 1. Now, the great benefit of the Boolean system is you're able to combine, using the same language, arithmetic and logic. So now that won't become clear immediately, but it will later. Okay, now Boolean values. The values are either a Boolean variable has 2 values, true or false, and you can manipulate variables. You can perform operations on them, and we'll do the 3 main ones. There are more, and we'll talk about that in 2 sessions. But the 3 main ones, you can operate on these Boolean variables. You can change them, modify them, and the 3 operations have names: negation, conjunction, disjunction, or usually in simpler terms just referred to as not, and, or. Okay, so they're the longer names, and here are the short ones, but effectively the same. So negation is to negate something, is to not it, N-O-T, to like reverse it. To conjunct, or to form the conjunction of, that just means to and to disjunct, or to form the disjunction of, just means you're forming the or. Now, what does that mean? I'll need to introduce something called the truth table, but that will be next session. But we can start on some of the notation. Now we're talking operations, right? We're going to modify or change the value of a Boolean variable. Now, if you're just changing one variable, you just reverse it. Like if it's true and you change it, well, there's only one other thing it can be, right? Because there are only 2 possible values a Boolean variable can have. It's either true or false, 0 or 1, or is a voltage, or high voltage or low voltage, or whatever. Two situations, only 2. Now, so to not a Boolean variable is to convert it to the other value. So, for example, not of true would be false, and not of false would be true. Okay, or to not a high voltage would give you a low voltage, or not of a low voltage would give you a high voltage. Not of 0 gives you 1. Not of 1 gives you 0, and so on. Okay. Now, the instruction, like on paper, the not, like it looks. How do I describe this? Oh my God. So it looks like a dash and a little vertical mark. So that symbol there is the not, N-O-T, the not symbol. So if I wanted to not something, I'd put this in front of the something, whatever it is. Okay. And doing that will switch or flip the value of the something to the other alternative. And there's only 2. So not of false would be true. Not of true would be false, as I was saying before. Now you can probably see this. So not of 0 would be 1, and not of 1 would be 0. Remember, Boolean variables only have 2 possible values, true or false, or the equivalent. Not 1, high value, high voltage, low voltage, whatever. Okay, so I'll change the camera angle and get on to the next session, where I'll introduce the concept of truth table, which is very useful.